With both the album and single receiving critical flack, Kate retreated from the public gaze once more. She would remain silent for 3 years, working on what has become widely seen as her masterpiece. During this time, she designed and built her own studio, allowing her more flexibility in terms of her recordings.
You went away on your own terms to make this LP, didn't you?
Yes, I wanted to make sure that we got our own studio together. That was the next move, really. I spent a lot of time on the last album, moving from studio to studio, and now we've got our own place, and everything is brilliant. It makes such a difference.
Is it difficult choosing the right sort of gear to put in there, the right people to work with in that studio, and the location, of course?
I think it's really good because you can get everything you want in one studio, which isn't always easy in a London studio.
What were you looking for? What makes your studio special for you?
Well, it's got all the environmental things that we want, the right kind of sounding rooms, and we've got all the outboard equipment and the right kind of speakers and everything. It's what we want, which is why we did it.
Kate would finally return in the summer of 1985 and present arguably the most complete and powerful work of her entire career. This new period opened up the release of Running Up That Hill in August 1985. It quickly rose to number 3 in the charts, making it her most successful single since Wuthering Heights.
Rather like Wuthering Heights, EMI did not want this song as a single. She fought them for it, and again she won, with a slight compromise that they changed the title because it was originally called Deal With God.
Running Up That Hill, of course, officially, the title is Running Up That Hill, brackets, Deal With God. And that's really important. The brackets is Kate Bush stamping her foot and protesting, because that Deal With God is her title for that song. She insists, she still calls that song Deal With God. That was one she lost in her endless disputations with EMI, friendly disputations, creative disputations. That one she lost, though.
Running Up That Hill is a great record, period. And it is her biggest single in Britain since Wuthering Heights, gets number 3, and it is her first top 30 single in America. It's very accessible. And here, the synthesizer is used in a very atmospheric way. She manages to really create an atmosphere of longing and quest.
This astonishing thing is happening, a deal with God. To swap identity with someone. Again, one of these, you know, just toss it away sort of little ideas for a pop song. So you're going to swap identity with someone so that you can see the world from their point of view. And how would that work out? You know, it may be about a love affair. If you could go into your lover's shoes and look at you as they see you, what would be going... You know, it's just a fantastic piece of imagination translated into a lyric that really nails it, with a great hook line, of course, and a brilliantly conceived piece of music to bring out the sort of the passion and the madness and the urgency of this idea.
Perfect blending of the synthesizer and the drum machine, and I guess it achieves what she hadn't done on the previous record, and indeed synth pop was struggling to do, which was to marry genuine emotion and a soulfulness, if you like, with the technology. That was what was lacking perhaps on the previous record, and here the two come together. And indeed they do on the whole album.
The album, The Hounds of Love, entered the charts at number 1 and has since become regarded as one of the seminal albums of the 1980s.
I think we felt that Kate was going along a certain trajectory that was whimsy, a little bit, that she'd lost her way a bit, really, and that wasn't really relevant. And then she came out with Hounds of Love, which was full of so many different influences, really picking up on emerging dance music, on world music, which was huge at that point. And the lyrics and the music worked together in a way. It was a real peak in her career. It was almost like the summation of everything that she'd done up to that point.
Hounds of Love is undoubtedly the masterpiece. I mean, one of the extraordinary things about that record is its self-confidence, because after The Dreaming, which didn't sell and wasn't regarded as a success and had been the first album that she'd produced totally herself, you know, she could have taken a real knock from that. But it doesn't seem to have had that effect at all.
The second side of the record contains a series of songs known collectively as the Ninth Wave.
Pink Floyd often did this on their early records, which is that you put a bunch of songs on one side, as in vinyl, and you put a concept on the other side. Well, wisely, I would imagine, Kate didn't just do one side as a continuous track, which was the old Pink Floyd way, but she did a bunch of songs that were themed to some degree, and they are themed on what it's like to be dead. At least I think that's a good part of it.
Clearly there's this cycle of life and rebirth going on there, inspired by this line from Tennyson. And it sounds absolutely extraordinary as well. And again, it's the attention to every last little sound. I mean, both in terms of the voice, in which she uses every sort of vocal trick in the book to create every sort of nuance of emotion. But then in the actual sounds themselves, I mean, there's this wonderful story, for example, about the waves that they recorded, which occur between the first and second track in the cycle. And she insisted were redone because they weren't the right kind of waves. You know, so that infinitesimal attention to duty. Cloudbusting, I mean, another extraordinary single that existed in its own little time and space.
Based on a book that I found about 10 years ago. It's called A Book of Dreams, written by Peter Reich, and it's about the relationship between himself as a child and his father, and what a special relationship it was. There's an incredible sense of innocence throughout the book because it's being written from a child's point of view, and you get a great sense of the magic of their relationship. His father was a very greatly respected psychoanalyst and had a great deal of theories on life energy, and also had a machine that could make it rain called a cloudbuster, and together they would go out and go cloudbusting. The song is really about the magic of that relationship, the adult looking back at what a good time they had. Unfortunately, the build-up in the book is where the father is arrested because his beliefs are considered somewhat outrageous. And from that point onwards, it's very difficult for the child to cope without his father.
But Cloudbusting is the best video from the point of view of art. And it's really heart-wrenching when she's separated from Donald Sutherland, her dad. She can act.
And the song is saying that now that his father's gone, instead of the moments when it rains being sad for him, they're a very happy thing. It makes him think of his father, and in a way the rain is the presence of his father with him.
With the title track from the record also performing well in the charts, Hounds of Love became Kate's most successful album to date. Suspecting that Kate would retreat from the world once more, EMI decided to capitalise on the success of Hounds of Love by releasing The Whole Story, a compilation album of her work up until that point. However, after the release, Kate again retired from public life and slowly began the lengthy process of composing her next record.